Hello and welcome back to HCS Weekly.
I thought, like, yo, this is my life. I have to go pro in Halo.
In my head, thought that was more efficient, and I guess I was right.
He was like the god. We would have to 2v1 like just to beat this guy. Like
I don't know, man. I was reaching and you're like, oh, let's see you guys later.
A lot of Halo in my life, man. It's been a fun journey.
I love it. Hello and welcome back to HCS Weekly, your weekly destination for all things HCS. I'm your host, ShyWay. It's good to be back. Of course, we have our news for the week. We have our trick jump for the week, and we have an interview this week talking about the state of Halo on Twitch and how to hit your multi-kills with a multi-kill professional Eli X. And we'll get to that in just a little bit. But of course, we have our news first. And of course, we also have our HCS grassroots skin and nameplate giveaway. If you guys want to be a part of the contest, all you got to do is type !grassroots in the chat. It'll enter you in the contest, and then at the end of the show, we will announce the winner. So stick around at the end. We're also having a Q&A with Eli X at the end of the show. If you're a fan of Eli, you've got some questions for him. I'm sure his fans know him much better than I do. I would love to hear your guys' questions at the end of the show for our Q&A. So stick around. It's going to be a great time. Let's kick it off with the news with MattyRums from NoobCombo.com. How's it going, Matty? I don't hear you at all, Matty. I think you're muted. Did I mute?
Forgot.
You
No,
muted yourself.
I forgot
there you
to
go.
unmute it.
I like how you shouted out the rule right before the show started. You're like, remember, mute your mic if you're not going on, and then you mute yourself and you don't remember to unmute. But anyway, how you been, man? You doing okay?
Yeah, not too bad.
Awesome, dude. I know we have a lot of news this week, more than usual because we're trying to scramble to get as much info as we could for you guys last second here, but we got a lot of MCC updates to start with first. We got playlist updates. They've added Halo CE 8v8 Mayhem playlist. Tell me a bit about this playlist. Sounds exciting.
Yeah, so it's 4 different game types, or 5 actually. The first one's Mayhem Slayer, which is a score of 250 to win. And that'll be on either Battle Creek, Rat Race, Hang 'em High, Derelict, and Longest. So pretty crazy for 250.
Yeah, like wrap your head around that for a second. 8v8, and some of these maps aren't very large. I mean, like Battle Creek is not that large. Derelict, like they're not very big maps. 250 kills to win. That sounds like mayhem. I mean, the playlist they titled it correctly. So I mean that could be pretty excited, especially if you're a Halo 1 fan. This is a great reason to get back onto Halo 1 and get some 3-shot Magnum kills. What else we got?
Yeah, the other game types were 1 Flag Siege, which is a 2-minute offense, and 5 flag caps to win, and that's only on Battle Creek.
Right.
There's also 2 flag Capture the Flag on Hang 'em High, King of the Hill on Battle Creek, and then a moving King of the Hill on Damnation, Rat Race, and Derelict.
Which sounds fun as well. So it's all 8v8. It's not just Slayer. You got a variety of other game types added in here as well. But it sounds like a really great time, a good reason to come back onto Halo 1. Of course, that's not the only game that they're adding, changing playlists to. They even updated something in Halo 4. What do we have here?
Yeah, not too much, but they removed actually 2 maps from their 8v8.
They removed something.
Yeah, they removed Panic Station and Excavation from 8v8 Slayer and Capture the Flag.
Not sure of the reasoning, but I'm just going to make the assumption they didn't work well for the 8v8 game type.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Good to see that there's people still playing Halo 4 in these playlists and maybe giving feedback, and Halo, the company overall is listening and trying to add updates wherever they can, even in Halo 4, which may not have the largest community of the Halo titles, but it's Halo. What else we got here? We got a new banning system in effect as well.
Yeah, so they mentioned a few updates ago that they were looking into how players would be able to leave matches and things without taking a penalty if players on their team had already quit. So they put that into effect. You receive a quit ban, as they call it, once the match has been locked in. So if you try and dodge a match, they're saying on the the matching player scenario, which my guess is once the players have been found and they all show up, I'm guessing that's when they're considered locked in.
Yeah, this is the point that we weren't sure about, right? So I guess they've locked in, they've selected the players, and the match is starting to load past that point. So I guess you've got your 8 players in the lobby selected, and then I guess in that time period when it starts to load the match,
because they specifically said even before the loading screen. So that's why I'm guessing. Even before
the loading screen, wow.
That's why I'm guessing it's once the players are locked in, once they've been found.
Right,
that's the locked in screen. But any player that quits or dodges the match at that screen will receive a quit ban. But there's two scenarios that are a little bit tricky. The first one was if you yourself quit a match during the locked-in process, you can still search and play another match as long as it finishes before the original match that you quit ends.
Wait a second. If it doesn't finish before the original match that you quit ends, do you get booted out of the? Because that would be ridiculous.
I don't know.
There's no way. I think it's just like, regardless, as long as you start that second match before the first match that you quit out on ends, then you won't receive the ban until you come out of that second match. So
right,
I'm assuming they wouldn't take you out. Yeah, you would just come out and it'd be like the ban hammer strikes from the previous game or something. So I guess something to keep in mind if you do dodge a game, just grab another one real quick before your ban sets in. Unfortunately, there is a ban, but it's understandable considering we want players to stick in these matches. We want people to have the best possible matchmaking experience. So some of this does need to be, part of the system. Though they have a bit of a weird stipulation here where you said being one of the first two to quit a match after a player on your team has quit dodge will result in a ban. What's this about?
Yeah, it's kind of like a flaw in the system right now. So say someone on your team had quit, so now it's a 4v3. Mm-hmm. If you're on the team of 3, if you're one of the first 2 players to quit, you'll receive a ban, even though the original idea was if it was half your team or less. Mm-hmm. So it's a flaw that they're working on. So you technically would have to be that third person to quit without receiving a penalty. But they said they're looking into fixing that.
Okay.
So just don't quit.
Yeah, I would think that if there's 3 left and you quit, you definitely shouldn't receive anything. But it's saying if you're one of the first 2, so even if it's a 4v3 and you opt to quit, are you still being penalized? Which I find is a little silly because you're already at a disadvantage. That's enough incentive to want to quit from that point. You know what I mean? But
oh yeah, no, I completely agree. But like I said, they said they're working on finding a solution to that. Right. I guess because it counts only 3 players on the team, so they can't do like 1.5. So I guess they rounded up to 2.
Interesting.
I don't know. I'm not too sure,
but as far as more info on that topic, you have a link to Halo Waypoint, the article, and that is also present on newcombo.com, I assume. So you guys can check out newcombo.com and see the information on this and maybe get some more info that we haven't uncovered yet. As far as the events that we've had, throughout the week as well, we have SWAT Nation just recently has an announcement as well.
Yeah, they added 2 more members to their administration. It's Veronica and Heavenly, right. 2 big members of the community, especially the female community. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's good additions for them. They also announced a new tournament. It's their SWAT Nation Summer SWAT Off, and it's Halo 5 3v3, but teams will be randomized. So you register solo, and you'll be randomly paired up with 2 more players.
Yeah.
But their next tournament, which will I think it's sometime in June. I don't have the exact date right now, but it's So You Think You Can Snipe 2v2. It's a snipers only tournament.
Right.
Again on Halo 5.
Okay. Man, honestly, I can't say enough good things about what SWAT Nation's been doing with these events. It's so well organized. They're constantly bringing out good events. They've got good prize pools for these events. If you guys like Halo 5, you like SWAT, there's so much incentive to be a part of this. And I'm also casting them as well. I just came off of casting the last event that they had last weekend. And then during that event, they announced this follow-up event. We've got the Summer SWAT Off. So they're constantly ready with the next follow-up. They're just doing an amazing job, keeping up with the community and adding new exciting ways for you, especially if you're a SWAT fan, to get involved. So highly recommend you guys check out SWAT Nation if you haven't already. We have some updates on Halo rosters as well. We've got Elevate exits Halo.
Yeah, so all the members from, I guess, formerly Elevate, Penguin, Trippy, Ace, and Neighbor, they tweeted out that Elevate has unfortunately dropped them.
Yeah.
Neighbor specifically stated that they don't want to spend the money on the title. Mm-hmm. Which, everyone, I guess, can understand at this point. He also had tweeted that the organization still owed the team money, but since then, I think it was actually late last night or today, he tweeted out that they did fulfill the contract, so all is good there.
Yeah.
But they're currently the 3rd seed for DreamHack Dallas, unofficially, but they're looking for an org to represent them, so if anyone's watching.
sponsor these guys. And
Yeah.
they're still amazing players, and they're still sticking together, which is good, but it's so unfortunate to see Elevate exit. And Elevate's one of the many large esports organizations that have been exiting Halo recently. If we look through the list, I think we had a list here of the teams that are still representing Halo. It's kind of grim here at this point. I mean, we have Reciprocity, which is a relatively recognized team. I know you have Lux Gaming, Infinite.
Yeah, I'd say
they're not very large. They're
Reciprocity, Denial, and Lux are probably the biggest three.
Denial and Lux, yeah. Because then you have, even in your the top teams for DreamHack Dallas right now, the Mesa Minotaurs is much less recognized overall. Tox Gaming is specifically designed for Halo. They don't really have any presence anywhere else, despite having the best players in Halo. It's just it's kind of unfortunate to see the lineup of esports rosters, and like you said, it's understandable. We're kind of at a weird transition point with Halo right now. There's not a large frequency in events. At least we don't know if there is, and hopefully with E3 coming up, we get some new announcements and some more exciting things to look forward to, especially from the eyes of an esports organization. Reason to invest in Halo, because it is a bit of a dry period, and it's unfortunate to see the exit from Elevate. But nice that these players are sticking together. Of course, an amazing team. We expect big things from them, and hopefully these guys get sponsored. Hopefully, somebody picks them up and makes that trip to Dallas a little more advantageous for them. Now, we still do have new things arising. We still have championship seasons as well. The Halo Project Brazil is happening, and this is nice to see.
Yeah, so they announced they were holding tournaments here and there, but they announced what they're calling the championship seasons. It's going to be 3 seasons with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tournaments each season, and they take place from this Saturday throughout to the rest of the year. So it's the order the tournaments are going to go is a Halo 3 2v2, Halo 5 2v2, Halo 5 free for all. And then based on the number of players, they're either going to do another Halo 3 2v2 or 4v4, and then Halo 5 2v2 or 4v4. So if you're in the no, they're all online.
Okay, so they're all online.
Yeah.
But it's for the Latin American scene, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, which is awesome. Is there a precedent for something like this? Like, have we seen a group like Halo Project Brazil come up before that represents the Latin American community?
Yeah, I mean, they get a pretty decent, turnout for their tournaments. Nothing crazy, but a good amount of teams. And you'll see a few recognizable names from the World Championship.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, just coming off of the conversation last week with Europa, Halo, GT Halo, it's nice to see more groups, in all different areas of the world representing Halo and putting together events like this. So if you're from Brazil or you're Latin American, from the Latin American community, you've got some great opportunities here across Halo 3 and Halo 5, so good to see. We also have the Microsoft Store events as well, which is a good place to get experience. You've got the Microsoft Store 2v2 Community Series, and the results are up now?
Yeah, it took place on Sunday. They did the top stores in the continent, because Canada's included. The first place went to the La Cantera Mall in San Antonio, and that went to Elotes, which was Stormy and Rami. Second place was Woodfield Mall in Chicago. That went to Lobos, who had previously won. I think they won the past 2, actually.
Okay.
But that's a Pixelized and Bullet. Third place was Houston Galleria Mall in Houston. Went to NA, which was Mr. Arna and Harmony.
Nice.
And fourth place went to the Fashion Show Mall in Las Vegas, which was Team Fraggin, which consisted of Callus and Valentine Day.
Nice. And Callus being a buddy of mine, nice to see him. Even in fourth place, man, still represent himself on the leaderboards in these 2v2 community series. So pretty cool. I love the initiative by Microsoft. Looking forward to more, FFAs, 2v2s, the stuff that they have in the near future. We also have SWAT Nation Cinco de Mayo 2v2 results. So this was what I casted just last weekend. We have results on that as well. What do we got here?
First place went to Found, which was Falcated and Bound.
Right.
Second place was Plumbers, which was Bohm and Leche. And third was LFG, which consisted of Sucka and Smoke Ya Dig.
Awesome. So then they had, I think it was 51 teams in total, actually represented in this event. So really good work from these, from these players. So very competitive, and these guys managed to make it through. And interestingly enough, Falcated is also in first place if you look at the DreamHack Finals qualifier results. What do we got here?
Yeah, first place was Infinite, Boobadooboo, Shotzi, Falcated, and Tusk.
Right.
Which is interesting. because they were the same day. But second place was Lux Gaming, Gilkey, Rain, Wanward, and Omega. And then third, fourth went to Sage Esports, which is, I guess if you want to call them a new team. It's Commonly, who originally stated he was going to exit Halo.
Right.
Back.
Interesting.
Commonly, Goofy, which formerly of GMS, Ryan Noob, and then Cloud, which was formerly of Lux.
Or Lux. Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty cool combination right there.
Yeah,
We're seeing a lot of really good players.
I think they can do pretty good because they were all pretty good on LAN, so it'd be interesting to see where they place. And then the other team that placed third, fourth was formerly Elevate. Yeah, as we just mentioned.
Neighbor, Ace, Trippy, and Penguin. Now, about that point that we had about Fallicated being in two places at the same time. So somehow he won the Cinco de Mayo and he won the DreamHack final. Turns out he wasn't actually at the Cinco de Mayo SWAT Nation event, and now SWAT Nation is going to change their rules to not allow this in the future. But he had King Nick representing him under his Fallicated tag, and then he jumped into the grand finals. And it worked out okay because everybody in the event just happened to be okay with it. The guys who came in second place, they wanted to face the best players that they could, so they were okay with facing the real Fallicated. But in the future, they definitely can't be swapping out players like that and having him compete in one tournament and then compete in the other. So that's something that SWAT Nation's going to fix in the future. But overall, we have our top teams for DreamHack Dallas coming up. Let's run it through here.
Yeah, UGC updated their points. So I went into the spreadsheet and took the rosters that I know of. I added all their points together and put together a small list of where the teams fall in order. Right. So because the top 12 teams will go directly into group play at DreamHack Dallas. Mm-hmm. So this is all unofficial, nothing, but unless players change teams or points get corrected, as of right now, you have Infinite on top with 1,810 points, Tox Gaming with 1,560, formerly Elevate with 960, Lux Gaming with 860, and then Mason Minotaurs with 590. Right. Those are the top 5. I have a longer list on the site. If you're interested, Reciprocity, even though I think they only competed in 1 or 2 events, but they were at the bottom with 320. And then GMS had 410, but Frosty didn't compete in any tournaments, so his points don't get contributed.
That's the thing is so it's nice to see Infinite with a good standing coming into the event. Of course, this is a very strong team with very strong players, but there are some other teams that are very, very strong that aren't really even represented on this board here and will be competing at Dallas that you got to look out for. Like you said, Reciprocity, GMS, who Frosty hasn't even played with GMS yet, so we still don't know the potential of that team, what might come out of that. And of course, I know Frosty has a split focus, but still exciting to see that there's some good potential there. And I would love to see some kind of upsets or some real stories coming out of Dallas's event, and that's coming up very soon, guys. We have something pretty big to look forward to in just 2 weeks now, basically. Yep. So for the events this week, we've got 2 main events.
Yeah, they're both happening on Saturday, the 25th. If you're in Toronto or that area, there's the GT Halo Gruntwork LAN party at the Landlord's Gaming Center.
Yep.
And then you also have, if you're from the LATAM region, the first 2v2 of the championship season.
Right. And then, so great to have those 2 events there. But before we close out, we have one other thing, challenge that's happening right now. If you're a fan of Halo 5, even if you're not a fan of Halo 5, we have a lot of people jumping on Halo 5 right now because there's a specific mixer challenge going on for this game that you guys might want to check out. People are talking about it on Twitter. We've got a bunch of people playing it already as well. Do you know much about it off the top of your head, Matty, or should I find the website again?
I have it up. It's called Mixer Matchup Race to E3, and what it was, it seems like for 3 weeks they're holding 3 different games that you could stream and play on Mixer, and you're awarded points for completing whatever. The second week, which is right now, the game is Halo 5, and if you, I think it was 50 kills. If you got 50 kills a week, you were awarded points, something like that.
Yeah, so there's like a minimum threshold. So basically it's like $25,000 weekly pool of Mixer Embers, which is like your bits, your currency in Mixer, is distributed evenly to participants who surpass the minimum threshold every week. So the minimum threshold is just 50 kills in Halo 5 Slayer playlist while you're streaming on Mixer, which is very simple to do, and then you get an even split of that $25,000 pool. Now, of course, the more people who stream and hit 50 kills, the smaller that split is, but it's nice to know that you will be compensated in some way just for getting 50 kills in Slayer. So if you go on Mixer right now, there's an unprecedented number of people streaming and watching Halo 5 on Mixer. I think it was close to 4,000 concurrent viewers on Halo 5, which is pretty crazy for a game that, normally averages like 300 on Twitch.
Yeah.
So nice to see some of that. It's definitely incentivized that people are playing. Some people are playing what I want to say is a little bit too much. I've seen some tweets going around. If you look at, they've got a leaderboard already up here, and Triant right now, and this started yesterday. This started on the 20th. This is 21st right now. Triant has 2,325 kills.
Yeah, actually, I just refreshed. He has 2,480.
So, okay, but he's not stopping. There's a tweet that just went up a little while ago from, was it Furiously?
Furiously, yeah.
Where is it? Let me look at this. It says, this dude, Triant, has been online grinding ranked Halo 5 Slayer for the past 26 hours. If this isn't a crime, then I don't know what is. So the guy is just nonstop playing Halo 5, getting kills. If you're in the top 50 kills for the week, you get an extra $500 cash. So this man's gunning for the $500 cash, and of course he gets the cut of the minimum threshold, the $25,000 as well. So a lot of incentive to stream on Mixer to play some Halo 5. Maybe you guys want to check that out. I know Nated has even been playing some Halo 5. I'm not sure if he's part of that Mixer matchup thing as well.
Yeah,
but good to see if that's happening.
One more thing to add to that, the PBL or Pro Battle League. Also, they were adding to the incentive to do it. So if you're a member of a team in the Pro Battle League and you're competing in this competition, the top 4 that finish in the end will receive $100 from PBL.
Right.
So just another incentive to do it if you're in the PBL.
Right, and that's good from PBL kind of chiming in as well. You get an extra $100 if you're in PBL and you also are part of this. There's a PBL leaderboard as well that's separate from the Mixer leaderboard. So a lot of ways to compete, to get involved, and that's just nice to see overall. Nice to see some Halo competition, participation, everything in Halo. And of course, if you guys want all the news, all the details, all you got to do is go to noobcombo.com, and MattyRums has got all the information there. Make sure to check that out. Matty, that closes our segment for today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Anytime. See you next week.
Next week. All right, that closes our news. A lot of great news and more news in the future that we'll talk about with Matty in the future. But of course, before we get to our interview, we've got our trick jump of the week with ClearlyMe. How you been, man?
I've been good, man. How you doing?
Good. I missed you last week. What happened, dude?
Yeah. I was doing some electrical work in my house, and I shut off my main power, and of course, busy with that, I didn't check my phone for the real time, and all the clocks
track of time.
Set an hour behind. By the time I realized it was showtime, I read a ton of messages basically asking me where the hell I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you're here now, and I believe you have a new trick jump for us this week.
Yes, I do.
What do we got this week?
I do. Yeah, it's on Last Resort. It's kind of a different one than what I usually do. There's no ghost jumping or anything super intricate. It's all about timing with this one.
Okay.
But I start from the bottom of the wheel and I climb myself all the way up to, there's this little bar that goes between this part of the map and camp. But it's all about timing, man, and lining yourself up correctly. You run up here, jump in between here.
Wow.
Get up here and climb to the top of the wheel here.
That's a good spot to have a sniper at.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty sick.
Oh, yeah. Extremely easy to get down. There's some technique to it, but not too much. But like I said, it's not as intricate as some of the other things that I've shown you.
What would you say is the hardest part of the jump?
I would say that part right there, jumping on the timing of the wheel right there.
Right.
Is probably the hardest part.
And I'm sure there are pieces here that you can't step on, like stuff that looks like an object but isn't quite an object. You got to be very careful where you're walking.
Well,
most of it's solid.
The main part you have to worry about that on is the actual landing. That invisible barrier that I'm standing on at the very end there. You have to land directly in the middle. If you don't, you will slide off on either end. It's a very, very small space that you can actually stand on up there. But there's been many times where I've tried this in matchmaking and I get up there and I slide all the way back down.
Right, all that time spent.
Yeah, but it's fun to try. So, I mean, if you fail, no big deal. You learn from your mistakes. So. It's all good.
Interesting. I remember in Halo 2, you could super jump or like super bounce, whatever it was called, where you can get on top of the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
There was another way, and it was crazy back when I played that in Halo 2 Classic. Just trying to figure out all the spots and getting like outside the map. And so it's good to see that you can even just jump up here.
Oh yeah, and the super jump that was on Halo 2 to get up there was extremely easy, and I wish it was. I wish super jumping in Halo 3 was still possible because I would be doing that still. But yeah, that's the only way up there, really, tactically, in a match-made game.
Nice. And I know that's just one of many crazy jumps that you have on Last Resort. I've seen your trick jump stuff where you're jumping off pylons too, right? It's full of crazy jumps.
Yes, sir. A lot of crazy stuff.
So, of course, guys, if you want more info on this jump, how to do it, if you want to try the jump yourself, you can try it with ClearlyMe as well. You've got your associated YouTube channel. You guys can check out at MCC Trick Jumps on Twitter. That's a great place to start. You can message Clearly from there, or you can join the Discord as well. You've got your Discord community. Feel free to shout out all these locations and make sure people join the growing trick jump scene. I know you have some relationships you've been building in that scene as well recently.
Yes, sir. But yeah, just like what Alex said, everything's at MCC Trick Jumps, my YouTube, my Twitter. I am going to be posting a link to my Discord server on Twitch and on Mixer. And the Discord server is completely dedicated to anybody who's interested in trick jumping, who wants to be part of the community, who wants to reach out to other members for help, to share content, ask questions, things of that nature. And currently, right now, I'm a current member of Jump Theory, and we're hosting a community montage where anybody can submit clips. There are qualifications. So there are some standards, fairly high standards, in order to be accepted into the video. But any normal Joe Schmo can submit clips to this.
Nice.
But yeah.
Awesome, guys. So submit your clips, be part of the contest. I love the continued support initiatives that you're putting through with the jump scene, and hopefully more people join it, and we get more people jumping around. We get some big jumps coming up in the future Halo games as well, hopefully. So thank you once again for joining me, Clearly. Looking forward to your jump next week.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem. All right, now that you know the news and you know the trick jump for the week, let's get into our interview today. We're talking about Halo on Twitch with the multi-kill master. I'm excited to welcome Eli X to the stream. How's it going, dude?
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Dude, thanks for coming on. Let's be honest for a second and talk about how this is all put together. Because, I mean, I had wanted you to come on, and then you thought you might be available, but you weren't sure. And then, like, last minute, we just kind of put this all together. And I think you just came out of you were sleeping? How you been doing, man?
I'm doing good. Yeah, this is super last minute. I've been really busy.
Thank you for doing that, though, man.
Absolutely. Things have just been really busy in my personal life, and so, sometimes I have to kind of plan stuff last minute. And I was up earlier today, and then I decided to take a nap, and I woke up and I was like, oh God, it's like 30 minutes before we're supposed to go on. So I tried to message you back as quick as possible and everything, and I'm glad we were able to get it set up.
Hell yeah, man! You messaged me and I'm like, oh my God, this is possible. I start like writing questions as fast as I possibly can. So hopefully everything's good. And I got some stuff to Tony that I want to show off to you guys, some nice clips, some moments that you had. And hopefully we get that all out and organized. And by the way, you're taking power naps during the day. Does that work out for you? Because I can't nap, man. Like I try to nap and I just feel more tired after.
Sometimes it's hit or miss. Like like you said, you either wake up and you feel even more tired, but then sometimes you wake up from a nap and you feel amazing. It's really hit or miss for me personally.
Nice. And does your sleep schedule get kind of like messed up with Halo and everything?
Or yeah.
Try to keep. Yeah, you're kind of all
my
over the
sleep
place?
schedule is a tragedy, just to put it in simple terms.
Yeah. Oh man, I can only imagine. But I mean, thankfully you're here now. Hopefully it was a good power nap and we can chat a bit. Yeah, because today you're an HCS grassroots partner, which is amazing. You're a content creator. You've been for a long time. I've got a video, a little clip we're going to show a little later that was 12 years old. So you've been wanting to, create some content for a while. You put together some of the nastiest multi-kills from anybody I've seen in Halo. So I want to know, where did it all begin? How did you first get into Halo?
Okay, so the very, very first time I played Halo was Halo 1 on the PC. I'm sure a lot of people can relate with this. Back in it was elementary school for me. The computer lab, some of the computers had Halo 1 PC on it. So yeah, that's where my very, very first experience with Halo was. And then one of my neighbors in a neighborhood that I lived in several years ago now. He lived up the street from me, and he had an original Xbox, and he had Halo 2. And I would go up to his house. I would ride my bike up there. We would play all day, and it was just so much fun. And to the point where I was like, I have to get this game. I have to get an Xbox.
Right.
And so I got an original Xbox with, the massive Duke controller. It's like I couldn't even really hold it in my hand at that time. I was so young. And I got Halo 2 and Fable were the first two games that I had for original Xbox.
Man, what happened to Fable? Fable totally died off. Eh?
Yeah, the Fable 2 and 3 were great games, but I don't know, just that very first Fable was like one of my favorites. It was so much fun, man.
Yeah, like Halo for its time, that game was pretty revolutionary as well. And then, so you had the good fortune of playing Halo on your school PC? Because I remember back in the day there was Counter-Strike. That was the best that you'd get. And I would try to play Counter-Strike, but Halo?
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
I'm not sure how people got it on the computers or if it was already on there or what, but I just remember being in a computer lab, and every once in a while I would be on a computer that had Halo 1 on it, and I just, that's kind of where my enjoyment for Halo and just shooters in general kind of started.
Yeah, screw class at that point. You're literally you're playing Halo in the background.
Yeah.
And then how old did you say you were, like back when you were playing Halo 2 on Xbox? You said you could barely hold the Duke controller.
I was 10 years old when I first started playing Halo 2 on the original Xbox. And I'm sure, as you guys know, this is like a standard Xbox One controller, but the Duke for the original Xbox is probably like double the size of that controller, being realistic.
No, yeah. The cool thing about the Duke is they actually remade it. Have you seen the redesign? Yeah, like they redid it because there's so many fans of the original controller. So you can go buy a Duke right now, redone, and use it on your Xbox One. It's pretty ridiculous. Did you claw when you first started with it as well? Because I know you said you claw. I recognize on the Duke, it's so large, it feels like comfortable to claw, and it's almost like it's designed that way.
Yeah, this is actually kind of a funny story because I actually clawed before I ever even knew what claw was back on the N64. So you know how on the N64 there's the prong in the middle, and a lot of people would hold the controller by the middle prong, and then there's the yellow directional buttons on the right. I would actually claw to press those buttons, and I didn't even know what claw was at the time. I was just a little kid playing games, and so I've actually unintentionally been clawing for a really long time.
Damn, wait, so why would you claw the C buttons? Because your thumb hits all of those, doesn't it?
Well, see, I would use my left hand for like the directional buttons on the side, and then I would actually hold the middle prong with my right hand, and I would claw, like, it was really confusing. What? Yeah.
What?
I don't know how to describe it, but
oh my god, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, that's where that whole using the index finger for buttons kind of started for me.
So you're moving with the right thumb.
Yeah, it was interesting, man. Like I tried out a lot of different tactics when it came to gaming.
That's cool, man, and I'm sure it's something hopefully we can talk about in a little bit as well. And then, so not only were you a big fan of Halo, just playing it casually, at some point apparently you got into some competition as well, and you told me about this on Twitter. I couldn't find too much info, but you said you competed back in 2009?
Yeah, so from 2009 to 2011, I went to almost every single MLG event. I got top 32 in Halo 3 a couple times. The first time I made it out of AM bracket, I was actually teaming with Swiftkill. I'm sure a lot of people know him now.
Right,
he ended up, he was a god even back then. So the lineup was me, Swiftkill, Vipe, and Victim were the four players, and we literally practiced for one day online before the tournament. Nice. And we went and we upset winners bracket round 4. We upset Driven by Adrenaline. And I don't remember the full lineup, but I know for a fact Speed X2, Pistol, and Straight Sick were on there. I can't remember their fourth for some reason. It might have been like I don't think it was Nightmare, but I can't remember their fourth. But we upset them game 3, Pit Slayer, and it was just that's where like my passion for competing really kind of bloomed, because that was the first time I ever made any sort of upset at a tournament. And we ended up going to make it out of AM bracket that event, and I believe we got 31st, something like that.
Okay. Nice. So from the get-go, even like somebody like Straight Sick, who's amazing now, and he's he's still putting in all that grind time. That's pretty incredible. So like you said, it kind of inspired competition from you. Do you you don't really do too much competition today though, or do you compete in a different way, or plan to try to get into competing in some way?
Right now I don't have too much of a drive for competing.
Right.
I do have a lot of respect for everyone who still competes in Halo because I know it's a huge grind, and obviously you have to deal with like there's a lot of people who act shady in the competitive scene and stuff like that. So you always have to be careful, like with your team, like people getting dropped, stuff like that. But yeah, it's just so competing it's really, really fun. And maybe in the next Halo, I might get back into competing again, or depending on what they do with PC competitive, I'll see what I think. But as for right now, I'm really just enjoying like the streaming, content creation grind, kind of just really connecting with my community and all that.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, you've been doing great things with content creation. You're in the program, of course. So let's go back to the beginning of the content creation, figure out how exactly you got into it. Because like with all content creators, I go to your YouTube and I try to go back all the way to the first video. And crazy enough, your first video is 12 years old. That's like 2007. YouTube must have like just started at that point. And Tony, do you happen to have the video? If we can play it up and you can check it out.
Oh man. I put this video together in
yeah, so I'm not sure if it's playing the audio for it, so
okay,
it's just replaying.
So this is just like a
hopefully they can hear us.
Ceiling stick.
Yeah, so I mean crazy stick, and at this point you're way younger.
Oh yeah.
You're and like were you even thinking like you wanted to create content at that age? You just happened to tell me a bit about it.
So I used to watch a lot of montages back then. It took me a little bit to actually get into like content creation, making montages and stuff like that. But I used to watch a ton of Halo 2 montages from people like Furion, Reed18, and many, many others. I could go on to list, K-Blocker, and tons of other people. But that was really just kind of watching what other people pulled off, and the fact that they were able to, string it all together into a montage and people loved it so much. It really just kind of inspired me to try and start going for clips, going for stuff like that, rather than just going for like your typical kills, like, typical multi-kills. It kind of inspired me to go for those like unique things like off the ceiling stick and stuff like that. Like nade, like Halo 2, a big thing was like nade launches. Like you could throw a frag, launch a plasma off that, or you could throw one plasma and launch another plasma off that. So Halo 2 is really where I started like developing like creativity and kind of my passion just for going for montage clips in general. And big thanks to all the big Halo 2 content creators who made so many amazing montages, because that's where I got my big inspiration.
Awesome. Yeah, because I was wondering where that inspiration might have came from. I know that also you had in one of your past broadcasts, you were showing off Campy's montage, and it was not by Campy, it was by somebody else, and it was the most recent footage we've had of Campy since he's been gone. And I mean, would love to have him back. Was he another person who kind of inspired you as well? Absolutely.
Campy, good friend of mine, Tony, he's one of my biggest inspirations, not only as a montager, but as a streamer as well.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for him, I would have never started streaming. I would have never built up the community that I have. He helped me out so much. And I believe the montage you're talking about is Halo 5 Montage 2 edited by Apple Fanatic.
Yep.
And yeah, he actually made that for him on his birthday. It was Tony's birthday. Nobody had heard from him in a while. And he made that montage for him. I had the pleasure of premiering it on my stream, which was an honor. I was very grateful for that. But yeah, he's one of the best of all time when it comes to montages, and obviously just pure skill at the game. He competed as well, so like I said, he was a big inspiration, one of my biggest inspirations playing Halo over the years for sure, and with streaming.
Awesome. You wouldn't happen to know like where he might be or what he's been up to? Or
I really wish I did, and I get this question in my Twitch chat.
I can imagine.
Literally every night. Like he's hasn't streamed in over 2 years now, and I get this question in my Twitch chat literally every night, and I wish I knew more. The only thing that I can confirm is that he's alive, healthy, and he's doing well. But I don't have any idea about when or if he'll come back to content creation. Like, I really have no details on any of that, unfortunately.
Low-key praying that Halo Infinite brings everybody back.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that would be amazing, man. So then let's take a look at one of your clips then, because you've been hitting some amazing clips. There you have one clip. I'm trying to find the question I had written for it, but whatever. The clip that you have pinned on the top of your Twitter, and it's labeled your best clip of all time. Tony, show that clip. With the audio, hopefully. So.
That was unnecessary rocket, but it's all good. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god, dude. Holy shit. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm doing this.
Yeah, I was in complete shock at that point. I couldn't believe that I had actually hit a clip like that.
Yeah, tell me about that. What's going through your mind? Like, I don't even know. It's just another clip until it becomes that, right? Like,
so basically, as a montager, anytime you get a double kill and you see an opportunity to extend the multi kill at all, you kind of just go into like this really focus mode, and
right.
As a montager, you kind of have to learn to suppress your reactions until the clip is over. Right. So I don't know if there was audio on that, but when I got to the point in that clip where I hit the killtrocity, I was like, oh my god. And in my head, I was like, all right, I can still keep this going. So I quickly turned around, and still to this day, I kind of think about the fact that I did have another rocket in the chamber, so I could have continued that into a kill apocalypse and even potentially a killionaire, but that is definitely, I would say that's the best clip that I've ever hit, and it really surprises me that it comes in 2019. You know, of all times, you would think that like my best clip would be in Halo 3 360 Prime, but you know, I guess it happened in 2019, and that's one that I'll never forget, and it's really special when you hit clips like that live on stream, because obviously you're very excited as a montager, right, but you get to see the chat reaction, and you know, the chat reaction makes it just that much better. Like, you hit something sick, you turn over and you see your chat just flying with people freaking out, and it just adds to the experience so much to be able to do stuff like that live on stream.
Yeah, man. I feel like that makes sense, though, that you're hitting these clips now. Like, I know Halo 3 on 360 was kind of like, you know, that was the definitive version, let's say. But still, like, your gameplay, like, you've been improving since that moment. Like, you're the best you've been, I would assume, now than back when you were in Halo 3. So, I mean, well-deserved, like, clip there. And like you were saying, towards the end of it, like, you got to kind of control your emotions at the same time. And I love how people who hit clips, they're always like, oh, yeah, it was so sick, but it could have been this. I had a rocket. I had an extra shot, like, snipe shots. I could have made it work, whatever it is. But, yeah, so, like, how do you even suppress those emotions? Like, I think it was that one snipe that you hit all the way across that just that like, tipped it off for you. Like, I'm done. I can't even fully focus anymore.
The atrocity shot, was the one where I almost lost composure, but it just comes with experience. You know, I've been, you know, going for montage clips for many years now, and it just comes with experience where you kind of get used to the nerves and the pressure. And don't get me wrong, I still choke clips all the time. I'm not trying to say that I'm, you know, I don't choke, but you really just have to learn to stay calm in the middle of it until the clip is completely over, and then you can let everything out. You can let your emotions out. You can pop off, you know. Right. But you really, because if you freak out in the middle of the clip, you're gonna miss. Like, because if you start to pop off partway through a clip, you're almost guaranteed to miss your next shot.
Drop it. Yeah. So some good insight right there for anybody who's freaking out a little too early. But it's probably something you would know too. Like, if you start popping off, you're realizing you're not focusing quite as much. But of course, clips like these, I think, is what kind of led to you being recognized and being added to the HCS grassroots program. So congratulations for that, man. Tell me a bit about how that went down and what's the experience has been like since.
So far the grassroots experience has been pretty awesome, man. They're super nice people over there at 343, and they've been very nice with like promoting all of our content, not only just me, but you know, many of the other content creators. They're really good about promoting us on social media. Right. Even I have a very small YouTube, and they even have shouted out my stream highlights on there, which has helped grow that. And they tweet out our streams and stuff like that. They're really doing what they can to help us continue to grow our platforms and further our careers as Halo content creators. As far as like how I got in, I just applied and was luckily accepted into the first wave of people who actually applied, because the very first 4, I don't believe anyone applied for the very first 4. I think 343 reached out to those 4 people and told them they wanted to be a part of it. So once applications opened up, I immediately sent in an application and hoped for the best, and it ended up working out. So.
Right, and like you said, by joining the HCS Grassroots program, it means that 343 is helping support and like market your channel and some of the clips. So a good example of that is Bugsy's been putting together these awesome little moments from your stream. We have 2 that we're going to play back to back from Twitter, HCS Twitter. Tony, you can play them up.
Spree, gain the lead. Kill, attack him. Kill, atrocity. Kill him at Jaro. Kill, catastrophe. Snipers.
Dude!
Kill, killing spree. Snipers spree. Overkill. Kill, attack him.
Man, these are crazy clips. I was watching your Twitch highlights, the one that you just posted recently, and you have one on Narrows as well, where you jump off the map and you try to land the final shot, but you just get the body, you don't get the headshot.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But you must be. Sorry to say.
I was just gonna say that was tragic. I remember the exact clip. I got a headshot tack, and then I started getting shot in the back. So I just went for it and just tried to jump off the map. And I think it was pretty close. Honestly, it was pretty close to being a headshot. But sometimes it's like that. Sometimes you can't hit them all.
Yeah, man. But I mean, regardless, you're putting together these awesome clips. They're being broadcasted on Twitter. And I'm wondering, like, okay, let's say I want to get into hitting multi-kills like in Halo. What would I have to do? What's kind of the process? What I want to know is what kind of controller are you rocking? How do you play, like the play style with the controller? Let's take a look at some of these things. So what do you got?
So I just I believe this is a Generation 2 standard Xbox One controller. I used to use an Elite. Oh, Gen 3. Okay, sorry. Yeah. I used to use an Elite controller for a long time, but I kept having issues with the bumpers breaking. I play on bumper jumper, and I literally spam my jump button all game long. So I had lots of issues with the bumpers breaking. So I've had this controller for over a year now, and it's treated me really well. I really like once you get it loosened up, I really like the thumbsticks and everything. But as far as the way I hold the controller, I do claw grip. So I don't know if you guys can see this pretty well, but I basically use my index finger to hit the face buttons. And that kind of makes it so when you hold the controller, your thumb is a little bit more pointed down on the right thumbstick, rather than if people hold their controller by default, their thumb will kind of be flat on the thumbstick like that. But since I claw, it almost has me like pointing see how my thumb's kind of bent, whereas if you're holding the controller normally, your thumb's going to be flat like this. And I think that the clawing and having my thumb kind of bent like that sort of benefits me when it comes to like quick scoping and going for those whip shots, because I play on very high sensitivity. Right now I play on 10, 10, 10. So 10 horizontal, 10 vertical, 10 Excel. Yeah.
That's not the max though, is it? It's higher.
I think that is the max right now, unless someone in the chat can confirm. I'm not sure if you can go past 10 Excel.
That feels okay for you? What if you're shooting the BR and stuff? It's sniping.
I actually, last few nights, sniping, it feels really good for sniping. Having high sensitivity helps a lot with sniping, but the last couple nights on stream, I've tried out hardcore a little bit, and I actually held my own pretty well. I'm like a level 40 something on my account, and I was playing hardcore, and I felt like I was keeping up pretty well, even on max sensitivity, which it's obviously a big challenge. Don't get me wrong. Like I lose a lot of BR battles that I shouldn't lose, and just miss shots that I shouldn't miss. But it's really just about the fun of it and the challenge, and I feel like it makes your clips look a lot flashier to be on a really high sense, because you can go for shots that some people can't go for, and like if you're getting shot in the back, you can quickly 180 and go for a shot on someone. But yeah.
Yeah.
So max sense is it's can be a struggle sometimes if your shot is not on, but for the most part, once you've played on it for a long time, your muscle memory starts to just adjust to it, and it's really fun, honestly. For people that can handle it, I would highly recommend at least trying it out at some point.
Right.
Definitely
And
not
then,
for everyone.
yeah, Tony actually just sent a message into Skype that I'm trying to bring up now. Tony, it's easier if you do Discord, because I can't, hold on. Because it was Muggsy, I think, in the chat just mentioned that you can go above 10 cents. I don't know if you see it.
Oh yeah, with an Elite controller, yeah.
With an Elite.
So
you can adjust the sensitivity settings on.
Yeah,
on the
when I
sticks,
had
right?
an Elite controller, there's like thumbstick settings where one of them's called aggressive, I believe.
Right.
And I used to use that when I had an Elite controller, but yeah, I think that's probably the only way you can really go past that sensitivity is if you have more customization through your controller.
Did you like the sticks on the Elite? I find that they feel different. They feel like heavy and loose in comparison to the third gen, like the one that you're using right now. Got that sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. So because the Elite controller thumbsticks are on magnets, and I don't know how to describe it, but like when you do a circle, it's like I don't know what material it is, if it's like metal of some sort, but there's something that's just a lot smoother about these controllers. Like the plastic is just really smooth, and like you said, the Elite sticks are kind of heavy, and since they're on magnets, they just feel completely different than a normal thumbstick, honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because when you have a controller that's so packed with all these features, you love the sticks. That's the one thing that I have, and of course the bumpers as well.
Mm-hmm.
But my way of navigating the bumper issue is if you put a little piece of tape. So if the bumper breaks, you put the shell, because the button still works, right? It's just the shell that broke off. You can take a little piece of tape and put it on the corner, so it's like kind of loosely still on the controller, and you can still get a feedback of like a button pull. That'll kind of hold you over.
I never knew that.
Yeah, you could mess with it with some tape and then try to, like, if you ever wanted to go back to the Elite and give it a shot and try to salvage it.
I have to do that sometime.
And I find it super interesting that you said that, by clawing your controller, it's kind of forced your thumb into a different position that you may not otherwise have your thumb in if you didn't claw your controller. So I think that's something that's really interesting to keep in mind, guys, if you're watching, if you don't claw or if you do claw, whatever it is. I agree. Like, when you're clawing a controller, you're using, like, closer to the tip of your thumb, just like, I'm not even in the thing here, naturally. Right? Yeah, just because of the way that it kind of like changes the position of your hand. And then, like you said, that can kind of, in some subtle way, help you hit those flick shots. Do you ever find like it's difficult to, is that like make it still easy to click in the stick? Because I find your quick scopes are insane. Like, you're hitting quick scopes where, like, a lot of people will say if you want to hit a quick scope, typically you want to line up that reticle pretty much as close as possible to the enemy before you actually scope in. You can hit a nice quick scope, but sometimes for you, the reticle's like over here and the player, like, there, I can't see myself in the camera, but I'm here, but there's a good distance between the two and you're snapping it into them. Is there any way you think you can explain the process there?
Well, okay, so one thing that people don't account for when it comes to quick scopes a lot of the time is auto aim. Like, there is some auto aim when you first scope in, like when you first go for a quick scope, sometimes the auto aim will really help you out and like drag towards the player. But I think also just being on a high sense really has a lot to do with it, because you can cover what's a big distance? Like, so if I'm far off to the left of a player and I whip to the right to quick scope, because of my sensitivity, covering that distance is a lot easier than it would be for someone who's playing on, let's say, force sensitivity.
Right.
So depending on your sense really has a lot to do with how you line up quick scopes and stuff like that as well. And another thing that is slept on a lot is using your strafe to line up snipes instead of only using the right stick. Like, if you use only the right stick, it's going to make things a lot harder for you in the long run. But if you use your strafe to try and line things up initially, and then use the quick scope, the auto aim that you get, and just, that helps out a lot. So there's a lot that goes into it. And obviously, don't get me wrong, there is some luck with quick scopes. Like, of course, obviously there's muscle memory and precision and stuff like that, but there is some luck that goes into it as well.
Right. So yeah, like you said, with a high sense, I can only imagine the movement that you're making on that right stick is tiny, and it's just amplified by the fact that you have such a high sensitivity. So when you are whipping it that far, it's still a very tiny movement. There's no way you're pegging that stick. It's like a little, just a little tiny flick, which is really cool. And yeah, like you said, and even just recognizing the auto aim, I think is a good start as well. And maybe with a really high sensitivity, you can feel it even more so. But I feel like players are kind of shooting shots without fully feeling that moment that their cursor's stopping when they cross the player. You know what I mean? So kind of getting in the hang of that and using that to your advantage as well. But like, awesome, man. You're hitting these crazy clips. Of course, a lot of confidence comes into that as well. And then there's a little bit of luck too. You just kind of whip it in that general direction, and hopefully it works out. You could pop off. But nice to see. Now, of course, you're constantly streaming. How regularly are you streaming, by the way? And then are you creating or thinking of creating any content outside of live streaming, like trying to make like a tip video or talking stuff like in this format?
Okay, so to answer the first question, I stream basically every day besides Thursday. Thursday is kind of like my solidified day off every week.
Okay.
Sometimes I have to take days off as well, just for, personal stuff, mental health. I'm sure people understand all that, but I try my best to stream, 5-6 days a week. I'm sorry, what was the second question?
Are you ever thinking of doing any other types of content beyond live streaming?
I'm definitely thinking about it when it comes to like making tips and trick videos. I don't think right now would be the best time for me, because I feel like a lot of people know, like, since Halo 3 MCC is my main game right now. I think most people have been playing Halo 3 for years and years, and a lot of people pretty much know the ins and outs of the game. And I know there are a lot of people that could still learn a lot from it, but for me personally, in the future, I'm definitely gonna expand my YouTube content and stuff like that and do more. But for right now, with how busy I've been with a lot of stuff, it's just really easy for me to just kind of streamline like my streams, and then I take my stream highlights and just upload that as my YouTube content for now. So for now, I'm not gonna change things up, but in the future, I'll definitely try to get more professional with it, get some nice thumbnails, maybe, I don't have an editing program on my computer right now either, so big shout out to my friend Devin, who puts all my highlights together for me. He's a great guy.
Awesome. That's the thing too, like when you start live streaming, you get to meet this whole community, and then you have people who are supporting you in your other social, like you said on YouTube, clipping things together for you just because you're creating this content. They love the content that you're putting out. So that must be an amazing thing too, is I'm sure you've just met people through the live streaming grind.
Absolutely. Yeah. Twitch and just live streaming in general it's an amazing experience. I've met so many awesome people from all over the world too, like you meet people from all different parts of the world, which is amazing, and you all have this common interest, and you can really connect and start to become friends on a personal level and stuff like that. And things like Discord as well are really cool, because even when you're not streaming, you can stay like in touch with people offline and stuff like that.
Right.
It's just a great platform in general.
Definitely. And then as far as content goes, it makes sense. Now isn't really the biggest time to be creating Halo content. And I know that Halo, could become a lot more popular with MCC on PC or Halo Infinite on the horizon, so there might be more reason to kind of jump into it there. And I respect the fact that you're kind of sticking to one thing consistently. This is kind of my problem right now, is I want to make content for Halo 5 and Halo 3, and I want to stream, and I want to be good at the game. And it's like, it's just splitting me in all these different directions, and it makes it hard to do anything because you feel overwhelmed all the time. So
exactly.
I respect just like doing one thing, laser focus on a set schedule, and you're just consistently putting out content, and it works for you. So I would say, more power to you, man. Keep on it.
Thank you.
And hopefully Halo pops off, and then we all can, have more reason to create more content and build up more professional YouTube and things like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And just speaking of live streaming, like you're saying, it's been a great place for you to meet a community, to grow your own brand and profile. What do you think of the state of Halo live streaming today? How do you feel about the state of Halo on Twitch? How has your live streaming grind been recently as a result?
Okay, I'm gonna be brutally honest here. I
Go
know
for it.
a lot of people probably want me to be like, "Oh, Halo's great." I'm in grassroots, so everything's awesome.
I think they want brutal honesty.
Yeah. So to be completely honest, things are kind of stale right now. A lot of people are really waiting for the PC port and more Infinite news, which obviously E3 is coming right up. We're gonna be getting some news soon. But as far as Halo content creation right now, I think it's kind of stale. I really think that things like the ban system need to be changed. I'll be streaming and I'll get into a game and 2 people on the other team will quit and I'm on a team of 4 and I'm just stuck in that lobby because of the way the ban system is set up.
Right.
I'll just be stuck, and it's really bad content for viewers, and it's boring. As a viewer, it's very boring to sit and watch someone try to kill 2 people 50 times. It's really, really messes with content creators, and I think it kind of kills the mood of a lot of streamers when they're trapped in these games. So I really think that something like that would help out a lot. I do want to say thanks to 343 for the snipers update. They really made the Team Snipers playlist way better. They took out all the BTB maps. They turned down the weighting of Sniper Hill a lot. They added beam rifles onto like basically every map, and even if it's just Team Snipers, it has beam rifles. But overall, I think things are a little stale right now, and I think a lot of people could agree with me on that. That we definitely need to get to this infinite news and get some more news on the PC port. And then I think once that starts to happen, we'll get some resurgence when it comes to hype and population and stuff like that.
Yeah. So interesting point about the bans. First of all, what do you think they should be doing in regards to that? Because it does seem weird. Like I know recently they tweaked it again, but I'm still not sure how I feel about the whole thing. Just the idea of getting banned when you quit in like a lock situation before the game started, or if two people have already quit and you quit, apparently you could still be penalized with something. Yeah. It seems odd. How do you think, or do you have any ideas on how you think it should go down?
Okay, well, just to touch on the first part, yeah, they made it so if you quit the build, like when the map is loading, you get banned now.
Right.
I don't see that much of a reason to need to quit the build anymore because the maps are much better at least in the playlist that I play personally.
Okay.
I used to quit the build a lot, I'll be honest, because I would play Team Snipers every night, and I would quit the build if I got a map like Rat's Nest, Standoff, what was another one? Longshore. I absolutely hate those maps, and I don't think they run great for 4v4. So me personally, I would dodge the lobby if I got in those matches.
Right.
But now with the updated maps that are in rotation, I don't see a big reason for quitting the build anymore. But I do think that when it comes to 2v4 situations, I think if enough people on the other team have quit to where the rest can quit without being banned, I think that I should be able to quit as well. Even if I'm on the team of 4, I think that if 2 people on the other team quit, I should be able to quit and go find a new lobby. Because
definitely,
as a content creator, like I said, it's just boring content to sit there and watch like a streamer go for 2 people that are on the other team. And a lot of times, people who stay in those 2v4s, a lot of times they play really passive and they'll try to hide and milk the game as long as possible. And I've even come to the point where if there's more than 5 minutes on the timer, I'll just quit and take the 5-minute ban, and then I'll just hop back in afterwards.
Right. But yeah, you're like, so that's good that they're updating the playlist and they're changing maps out and making that more acceptable and more entertaining. So you have less reason to quit out in the first place. But you're absolutely right. Like that's something that we need to change. Last thing you need is to be stuck on a ban timer like in your live stream, and people want to watch content. You kind of lose viewership and you lose mindset kind of as a result too, which is unfortunate. How has your stream been going? I mean, like numbers overall in Halo are not doing too good as far as viewership. Have you been growing still? How is your stream been going?
Yeah, I've definitely still been growing my stream. I'm very grateful for my community, regardless of the state of Halo or if the people still play Halo anymore or anything like that. Like, I have a very strong community that'll come out and watch me every night, and I'm super grateful for that. I'm definitely still growing. I would like to grow my stream at a faster rate, but I understand with the state of Halo right now that's kind of far-fetched. I kind of need to. I'm going to keep grinding, and then once more news comes out for Infinite and PC port, I really think that'll help not only me, but many of the other content creators. I think that'll really help them with getting their streams growing even more, and just having the PC community come into Halo is going to be huge. Like, I know a lot of people are nervous about that, and they're worried about like getting destroyed by mouse and keyboard players or whatever, but I really do think that it's going to be a good thing for the community, and people have wanted Halo on PC for years now. So, and it's the highest wish listed game on Steam right now. So, obviously 343 has a lot on their hands.
Absolutely. Like that's going to be so hype when that comes out for sure. What do you think though, I guess, of mouse and keyboard versus controller? Like, do you play mouse and keyboard at all? When it does come out on PC, would you switch over, do you think? What do you think about that so far?
I do play mouse and keyboard. I've played games over the years like H1Z1, Fortnite, stuff like that. And anytime I play a game on my PC, I use mouse and keyboard. I like mouse and keyboard a lot. And when Halo comes to PC, I'll definitely try it and see how I feel. But I've played Halo on a controller for so many years that my muscle memory might just be kind of bound to playing on a controller. As far as like the skill gap, I think people just need to be more confident in themselves. If you're a good player on a controller, you're gonna hold up just fine against mouse and keyboard players on Halo. People have proven over and over that high-skilled controller players can keep up on games. You know, like a good game to take example from is Fortnite. Like people have mouse and keyboard and they're able to have all these keybinds and build on their mouse and everything. Right. And then there's players who use controller and they keep up. You know, and it's pretty impressive because on a controller, you know, obviously you feel a little bit more limited when it comes to keybinds and buttons and stuff like that. But people have proven over and over, and Apex as well, people have proven over and over that you can keep up. If you're a high skilled player with whatever you choose, mouse and keyboard controller, you'll be able to keep up. And all it takes is practice and hard work. I really don't think that. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be some people that get on Halo that use mouse and keyboard that are absolute gods.
Like your Shrouds and whatnot.
Yeah. Shroud, Summit, like all those guys. They're going to be gods on mouse and keyboard. But I really think that controller players will be fine to keep up, especially like the high-level pros and like people who compete and stuff like that. They're going to keep up just fine.
Yeah. So you're definitely open to the idea of crossplay?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I do think that it should probably be optional because there's going to be a lot of people, like I said, that are kind of scared nervous to play against like mouse and keyboard players. But I do think it should at least be an option for people who play on Xbox if they want to match against PC players. I definitely think it should at least be an option at the very least.
Yeah, or even to be able to play together with friends who are on PC. Just in general, I think one of the biggest things for success in Halo is just ease of access. I think we need the easiest access from anywhere, like anytime, basically, from like anyone. So whether it's on PC or on Xbox, you should be able to play with your friends who only have a PC, only have an Xbox, just so we have more people playing the game and talking about Halo. And just, the easier it is to access, I think the better at this point, just to get the viewership, the population. And I agree with the Switch. I think that's important. Being able to turn it on or off if you want to just play console players, play on PC. And like you said about being on controller, still being very talented, I think Snipedown was a great example of that. Playing Apex Legends, some of the clips that he's putting up are amazing that even some PC players aren't really hitting. And he's doing that with controller. He has so much skill and patience, and there's so much more that goes into it beyond just like flicking the shots and hitting the shots. There's so much of a mental game that you need to be in the right positions and to be a great player. So for sure, the only thing I worry about, because I know that when you have controller versus PC, controller still has some auto aim. So if you're using a BR, maybe in some circumstances you could hit some pretty precise shots that might be maybe really hard on PC. But with the sniper, it seems like a totally different story. Like I feel like you'd be hitting flick shots, snipe headshots like effortlessly on PC. Do you think that would be dangerous for something like the clip community, where it's so amazing to hit these headshots on controller because it's so difficult to do, but when PC players come in, they're just like double kill, triple kill, overkill, like would that kind of ruin things, do you think?
I definitely think that. All right, so when it comes to montage clips and just multi-kills in general, there's this set of standards that people have created over the years, and I definitely think that there's going to be different standards for mouse and keyboard clips versus controller clips. Like you said, auto aim does play a big factor in certain situations, and I think that's like the biggest discrepancy between PC and controller like players, or PC and console, is PC players always talk about how auto aim does so much for controller players and stuff like that.
Right.
But I do think we're going to see some absolutely insane shots from people on mouse and keyboard. Just from watching other games. And to touch back a second on what you said with Snipedown, he's a perfect example for what we were talking about before with competing. He dropped like 24 kill games and stuff like that on Apex, and he's playing on PC just with his controller plugged in, like he's he's one of the most talented for sure. And like people like him are a good example for if you're really trying to study someone's gameplay that uses a controller that can keep up with anyone. Definitely people like Snipedown. That would be a good person to study their gameplay.
Yeah, I even had a second to talk to Snipedown back at the HCS Invitational. One thing I really liked was his mindset towards using the controller is that he's so confident in his ability. He's been using it for so long that he will stand up to those PC players. He thinks he's better than 99% basically, and that he wanted to be the controller player, like representing like high-level controller players, just to showcase the fact that there is this really high skill ceiling. There is a lot of potential. So I liked how he kind of saw that as a challenge, as an opportunity, rather than like, oh shit, I got to switch over. It's like, nah, man, I can stick with controller. I'll be the controller player, like the controller Shroud or whatever it is, when the next big Halo comes out. So I think that's really exciting. I think if you're still using controller, you're good at controller, like you can stick with it, it can still work. Well, at the same time, I also realize if you're good at controller, the mental, like the mechanics of shooting, all that translates into mouse and PC. So if you're worried about getting on mouse and keyboard, I think that transition will be made a lot easier if you're already good at controller. You just kind of understand how it all works, so you can pick it up relatively quickly. Hopefully, we'll see. So then, of course, you've got MCC PC coming out, but then after that we have Halo Infinite, and that's the big one. Any things that you really hope to see with Halo Infinite? I know you said you're grinding a lot of Halo 3. Would you say H3 is like your favorite type of Halo, your favorite style of Halo, like the classic style?
Yeah.
How would you like to see Halo Infinite kind of turn out?
Absolutely. Halo 3 and Halo 2, just the classic movement and mechanics, and Halo 3's art style.
Yes.
I've heard many rumors about Infinite going back to, classic art style, as you can see just from the last trailer at E3 last year, like Chief's helmet and everything like that. I would absolutely love for Infinite to go back to a classic art style. I know this part is kind of far-fetched, but I would really be a big fan of classic movement in Infinite. I feel like most likely the game's going to have some sort of advanced movement, whether it's sprint or thruster or something like that. But maybe at least for like the competitive portion of the game, we could have classic movement. But I just hope it's a great game overall, man, because I think that Infinite is really the ticket to bringing Halo back to being one of the top games. And obviously, there's already been so many big streamers that are excited just about the PC port of Master Chief Collection. But if Infinite comes out and it's a great game, then I can only imagine how much of a resurgence the community will have. And I'm just hoping for a great game that the art style is beautiful, and I'm just, I hope that the weapons are balanced. I have high hopes for it, but I'm really just waiting for this year's E3 so that I can see more information about it.
Yeah, the one thing I'm really worried about as far as E3 goes is I feel like it's very far away from being done, and I'm just worried we're not going to get more than just a tease. And we all want gameplay or something, just a taste of it, like something to keep us going. But I'm just worried it's just like more details on the engine and probably like what's possible with the next Halo rather than like what we have now. But I'm hoping for it, man, or at least some like dropping the day of like playable MCC PC content or something, so we like jump into that right after E3 or something, like something to really get us hyped about Halo. But I think you're absolutely right, though. Now is the best time for Halo, just in terms of like the fact that they've accepted it being on PC. It's easier to access than ever. All your biggest content creators, streamers, everybody who's successful in esports, they all started in Halo. Like just the pull that we can get in seconds, basically, if they do it right, can be insane. It would just be unbelievable. It would, be record shattering. So I really hope that it follows through, and all of us who've been grinding and trying to produce Halo content, sticking with Halo, will, finally be able to get that success that they deserve, that they've worked so hard for. So definitely would be very exciting. You said something interesting. So first of all, classic style art, 100% agree that that needs to happen. I think they're already doing it, so they already know. Like it needs to look like Halo from the get-go. There's no ambiguity as to whether or not this is a Halo title or Destiny or Overwatch or whatever it is. It's Halo from the get-go, so classic art will get that. But as far as classic style movement, you're not the only one who's saying this. A lot of people, want more of a simplified style movement. Any idea how you think they might be able to go about doing that? Because like most games, they all have sprint, right?
Yeah.
Your sprint mechanic. So how do you not have sprint, but have classic style movement, but make the Spartan still look like he's moving fast and like he has super abilities and whatnot. Like I was thinking, what if there's like some sort of a gentle thruster pack animation coming up behind the Spartan so they don't have to commit to a full sprint? They're just kind of always moving around at like some sort of a thruster plus walk speed, if that makes sense. So it's just one speed. Have you ever thought of something like that?
Yeah, that's actually a very interesting idea. So like an in between sprint and just running, where like you have that increased speed.
Yeah.
I think Halo 3 is a good example because so Halo 3 has no thrusters, no sprint, no clamber, but you can still move at a really good rate, and you can do trick jumps and skill jumps and all sorts of things without any of that advanced movement.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely would be open to an in-between, like you said, like a in-between where they have like the thruster giving them a little extra speed, or even like maybe when they jump, maybe the thruster activates just enough to give them like that kind of floaty feel that Halo 3 has.
Yeah.
But I just personally think that at the very least that competitive shouldn't have sprint. Even if the base game has sprint, hopefully there will be an option to disable it for competitive gaming at least.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting topic because like Halo, now sprint is the norm, but Halo kind of started this whole genre without sprint in the first place, and it worked really well for its time. So I'm wondering if there's some way they could revolutionize no sprint. So it's not there, but they make you feel like you're moving fast, and they make it look like the Spartans are super powered and they're moving fast, but there is no sprint still. So they're finding a way to kind of, revolutionize this original Halo style. But anyway, it would be cool if they could apply that. Now, of course, before we get into our Q&A, I know you guys are already asking your questions. Feel free to ask those questions in the chat. The last thing I want to know is any upcoming goals or plans that you have in the coming months, or any particular gameplay goals. Just kind of waiting for MCC PC. What are you looking at right now?
Nothing too specific. I really just want to continue grinding and growing my community and my brand as much as possible.
Right.
I'll probably, when it comes to goals, probably just. Obviously, I want to hit a Killionaire on stream. That's one of my big goals. I haven't done that on MCC. I've hit a few on stream for Halo 5, but I've never hit an MCC Killionaire on stream. So that's one big goal for me. Another thing it's a goal, but it's just kind of to give me motivation to grind, is I want to get my hardcore 50 back. I'm like a 43 now, and I've been implementing that back into my games, because for a long time I just played snipers only, and that really kind of can burn you out, because I don't know if we talked about this at all earlier, but there's like some implemented social MMR for social games, and that kind of can really make the social experience not that fun sometimes. So
social MMR meaning that you're still being matched with people at your skill level, even in social playlists, is what you're saying. Okay.
So basically, so for exactly what you said, you match against players that are of your skill level, and even get worse players on your team sometimes, because the game thinks, because of how high your MMR is, the game thinks, oh well, this person should be able to pick up the slack for these people. Yeah, exactly. And it just gets kind of ridiculous sometimes.
I think you posted some screenshots about it as well at one point.
Yes, I'm very vocal about that sort of stuff. I do my best to be respectful. Like, I don't, because a lot of people, when they try to say stuff to 343, they can be very ignorant and and just raging, and you guys are bad company, blah blah blah. But you really have to understand from like a developer's perspective.
Right.
And so I try to be respectful, but at the same time still vocal about my opinions about the game, because I love Halo and I want to see it do well. And I just think that some of the decisions that are made sometimes are not in best interest for everyone, and sometimes they cater their decisions more towards like casual players rather than the people who are diehard and play the game every single day still.
Right. Or at least in some circumstances kind of make decisions based on, like, because I feel that sometimes, like, Mankey's been behind a lot of it. I know for Halo 5, I'm not sure if he's doing it for MCC as well, but I feel like the stuff that he has in place would work really well for a very large population game. Yes. We don't quite have the population, so it makes it difficult for us. So, like, that's also an aspect of it too. But I like what you said about, recognizing issues that don't work for you, don't work for Halo, and voicing your opinions, but doing it in a way that's respectful and kind of encouraging that 343, works and improves without being disrespectful, without being rude and angry. I think that's so important. I think that, the community needs to do that so that we can have this great relationship back and forth. So great that you're doing that, and hopefully that's inspiring other people to bring their opinions in a nice, acceptable way as well. Yeah, man. So awesome to see. Let's see what the viewers are saying. I've got some questions in the chat here. Okay, Tony's giving me a cutoff time. We need to be done by 6:30 CT. Okay, apparently we got to get through these quick.
10 minutes Q&A. Let's go.
We got Trunks in the chat. Shout out to Trunks, who also hit some amazing clips himself. Yeah. Eli X, do you have any more montages on the way?
Oh, interesting that Trunks, of all people, asked that, because, I actually have a dual Taj with Trunks in the works.
There you go.
Being edited by Bambo, who was also in the chat earlier. And on top of that video, I also have a best of Halo 3 montage being edited by Double A. So the Taj with Trunks is it's all like MCC gameplay, some of our best stuff. It's a good mix of like hardcore clips, snipers, and stuff like that. And then the best of montage, it's edited by Double A, and it's gonna have clips all the way from H3 360, like years ago. I'm talking clips from like 2010, 2009, all the way up to clips that I've hit this year. Wow. So both of those projects I'm super excited for. I can't wait. I've been into montaging for years, and these are two projects that I've been most excited for out of any project that I've been a part of.
Right, and there's a good example of some quality content that you could put on the YouTube and stuff as well. Is like you still get to play your Twitch live stream and just make your best clips, and those become amazing montage content in the end. Anyway, so awesome shout out right there. We've got a dual Taj between Trunks and Eli X. You guys definitely gonna have to check that one out. Fireboy Jet says, Eli, can you tell me, does it hurt to get a tooth pulled out? You got your tooth pulled out or something? I don't know.
I've never had a tooth pulled, actually. I've been pretty good about taking care of my teeth over the years, and luckily for me, I've never had a tooth pulled. I can imagine it's pretty painful, though, to have a tooth ripped out of your mouth. I can only imagine, but I've literally never had that done, so.
I thought there was some sort of inside joke or significance, but maybe Fireboy was hoping for something else. I don't know. Sure.
I have no idea.
Thanks for the question, buddy. We've got Looney, Eli X. Where is Campy? Tell us. This is once again.
Like I said before, all I know about Campy is that he's alive and healthy and doing well. I don't know where he is. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know when or if he'll be back, if ever. So I have a command in my chat about it. That's how often I get asked about it. So I wish I knew more, Freeman, but I just don't. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
And I mean, if you knew any more, you might know too much. He'd have to kill you anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
This is a highly sensitive topic. Voxicity. Where do you see your success as a content creator in the future with Halo, specifically Infinite and MCC PC?
That's a good question, Vox. Good question. I'm very hopeful. I have high hopes for the future of Halo and MCC and Infinite. I really think that if 343 does things the right way with the release of the PC port, and if Infinite's a great game, I could definitely see not only myself, but all of the content creators having like a big increase in viewership, sub count, and just everything along those lines, YouTube subscribers. I definitely think that as long as things are done the right way and Infinite is a great game, that we can all be very successful in the future.
Hell yeah, that's what I like to hear, man. It'd be awesome, and just even like collaborative content and stuff too, like all the stuff you guys could do together. Now that there's so much more motivation to create content on a regular basis, it's going to be incredible. Fat Bass, it's Fat Bass, like the fish. I knew it. I always still mess it up. What brand of shampoo does Eli use? Apparently that's a significant thing.
Pretty basic. I just use like Head and Shoulders, nothing crazy. Pretty basic guy. Just
good for dandruff, right?
Yeah. I used to, when I was younger, I had pretty bad issues with dandruff, so that's where I found Head and Shoulders, and I just have kind of stuck with it over the years.
Damn, committed. Head and Shoulders follower. Better check that out, Fat Bass, if you got some dandruff. Good option, I guess. Not a Halo question, but that's fine. Walter Ryan, MMA, do you think we should have a veto system? Hell yes. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. No question about it. I think the fact that you can't quit out of a lobby without getting banned, I absolutely think there should be a vetoed system. Like, no question about it. There should be some sort of voting system. If it's not a veto system, there should be some sort of voting where there's at least 2 maps that you can pick between.
Right.
But I think a veto system would work best, honestly.
And thankfully, they're cleaning up the playlist a bit, so you're getting better maps for the most part. But yeah, veto system is probably the best way to, like incentivize the people stay and they're not, leaving and getting banned and whatnot. They actually get the maps that they want. Like Halo 5 needs that so badly as well. Like to be able to veto like Refuge CTF or something like that, like would be really great. But highly agree. I think that's a really important part. And hopefully from the get-go, the next Halo has a feature like that. I think that'd be very
some sort of voting, even if it's not veto, it needs to be some sort of voting.
Right.
Like, for instance, like the Reach voting system, like as she said in the chat, is very, very useful. It worked well,
Yes.
and I know that with the Reach voting system, sometimes you'll get like fan favorite maps get voted a lot, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing.
I mean, yeah, if it's a really good map, like I know back with Halo 4, it was just like Haven every single time.
Yeah.
But Halo 4 also had a bunch of terrible maps as well, so that's a whole other thing. But yeah, I still think ultimately giving the players more choices is usually the best option there. And I think, are you excited for Reach as well? And that's not the only thing they did really well. They also had the armor customization system. We're going to see all this come back when Reach comes back. Are you going to be playing that a lot?
Yeah, I'll definitely be playing it. I liked Reach. I wasn't a huge fan of default Reach, default Bloom, but after the title update, when they reduced the Bloom and also when they added in no Bloom, no Sprint into the competitive, that's when I really started to like Reach a lot more. I do think that it might not be the best move that Reach is going to be the first PC port.
Interesting. Why is that?
Just because I feel like to maximize the hype when it comes to PC, I feel like having Halo 2 and Halo 3 would have been huge. Don't get me wrong, Reach has a huge community, and there's going to be so many people that are stoked that that's the first game, and I'm sure it'll still do great. But I do think that having the other Halo games at launch of PC would really have helped maximize the hype for that. That's just my opinion.
No, that's actually a really good point. I think just the ordering of it in general could really help. Because, like, Reach is a good game after the updates, as you said, but Reach was also the game that kind of left a sour taste in a lot of mouths of Halo fans. Like, that was the one where things kind of started to go downhill. Exactly. So bringing that one back first could, cue some of those memories that people, or whatever it is. I think if you just had Halo 3 just start, because I think Halo 3 kind of represents the pinnacle franchise. So hopefully, at least if they start with Reach, then they follow up with the others in relatively quick succession afterwards. We're not waiting for a really long time.
Right.
Because you're right. Halo 3 was the one, like Halo was doing the best during Halo 3. So bring back the best memories with that title first. But definitely makes sense. Hopefully they can do something along those lines, like follow up quickly with other ones. Last question. We have Brand Mudden, question for Eli. What do you think of Halo adding a Battle Royale game? I have to talk about this one. How would you like it to work?
How would I like it to work? Okay, well, first, I don't think it would be bad for Halo whatsoever. I know that I've read a lot about people that are super against it and they think it's a terrible idea and all this, but I actually think a Halo Battle Royale could play really well, and I think it could draw in a lot of people. And people have to understand that all the biggest games over the last few years are Battle Royale games. You know, H1Z1, PUBG, Fortnite, Apex, all Battle Royale. So I definitely think that having a Halo Battle Royale is not a bad idea. Is how I would want it to play. I'm not really sure. I think the lore behind Halo do some really cool stuff with a Battle Royale game, but I don't necessarily know how I would want it to. But I do think that it could be huge for Halo. I'll be happy either way, with or without. But I definitely think that having a Halo Battle Royale could be huge. Like, that could really blow the population up so much.
Yeah. But you think they might have to change some things around? Like, you probably have to go to projectile bullets or something, right? A much larger map like that, you might have to change something.
Yeah, instead of hit scan, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely something that would have to be considered, projectile, bullet leading, and stuff like that. We'll really just have to wait and see what Infinite is like before we'll know anything about that. Because we don't even know yet if Infinite's going to be hit and projectile or anything like that. But overall, I do think that a battle royale could benefit the community a lot.
Yeah. Agree. I think battle royale will benefit the community if it's one mode part of a package. Package is good overall. You know what I mean? Like if that mode take away focus from the other crucial modes that we need and we know and love, then battle royale will be great. So as an additional piece, yeah, I think it would be. They have so much potential that they could capitalize on with it. So overall, though, great questions, guys. Thank you for the Q&A as usual, guys. And thank you, Eli, so much for joining me today. I know we had this whole short notice. Everything was crazy last second, but you still came on. It was a great time, man. Where can we find you online? You can shout out all your Twitch. You got YouTube, Twitter.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I appreciate it a lot on such short notice, and I think it actually worked out really well even on such short notice.
Yeah.
As far as where you can find me, the main place you guys can find me is on my Twitch. It's just twitch.tv/Eli_X. My Twitter is Eli_X, so 2 E's at the start. And my YouTube is a little. I need to get a new YouTube link, but my YouTube is actually I might just type it in the chat if that's okay. It'll make it easier.
Sure.
My YouTube. This is my YouTube URL, which I've had since I was a little kid. So don't.
Is it not Eli? What does it say?
No, it's Riku, which is a character from Kingdom Hearts, one of my favorite games of all time over the years.
Awesome.
And yeah, so that's my YouTube. But yeah, all the other socials, it's just Eli_X on Twitter, Eli_X on Twitch. And those are the 2 main ones that I use the most, are my Twitter and my Twitch.
Awesome. And I'm sure a lot of these people already know where to find you. They've been following your videos for a while. And if anybody doesn't know, now you do. Make sure to check out Eli X. Thank you so much, Eli, for joining me once again.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me.
No problem. All right, that covers today's episode of HCS Weekly. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Of course, at the end of all of our episodes, we have our HCS Grassroots giveaway. You had to type in the exclamation mark followed by Grassroots into the chat to enter yourself into the contest. We now have our winner. I Got No Aimbot wins the Grassroots VR skin and nameplay. Enjoy your new goodies. And yeah, congratulations, man. That covers our episode for today. And of course, we also have our merch. You can check that out as well. Everything that you buy here not only supports the show, supports me as well. And as usual, guys, I would highly appreciate that. That closes the show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you again next week.